Slide to the girl side. Say sweet, sweet, baby, the reason
Hey, family.
Perfect.
Is my
It is on.
So now I gotta let you.
Right, you put the.
All right. I'm gonna hold it because we're struggling.
Yeah, let's do it again.
I'm gonna hold it.
Okay. Alright. So happy to have you to Autumn for creating Fatherless and this amazing opportunity for adoptees. I think it's important, community is important. Thank you, Tarcia, for inviting me here to interview you and for trusting me with you and your story. And happy 1-year anniversary.
Thank you. I also want to thank Autumn and Fatherless and all of you. And before we get started, I just want to say how incredible, like, you're always where you're supposed to be, because nobody could have told me 1 year ago to the date that I was going to be here in Chicago doing a live podcast with people that I had not even met yet, about people that I had not even met yet. You can't tell me about the God I serve. Won't do it.
Okay, so you ready to be the interviewee?
I'm ready to be in the hot seat.
Okay, so I know that we are here to talk about your experience finding your birth father and the paternal side of your family, but can you do just a brief recap of how you found your birth mother?
Yes, so I found my birth mother in 2012. I was able to get a copy of my original birth certificate here in the state of Illinois. When I got that birth certificate, that was my very first time seeing my birth mother's name. I did not, at least on the birth certificate, I did not have a first name, just a last name. And because my last name is not a common last name, I was able to go to social media. And this is a real condensed version. And in my non-identifying information, I always knew I had a brother that was 2 years older than me. And so I typed in the last name into Facebook, and I just started looking at pictures of people, guys, black guys. And I found a person who I thought looked like me, and lo and behold, I was right. I reached out, and we actually had a common, a mutual friend who happened to be my cousin on my adopted side. And I was like, do you know him? Ask him if his mother's name is such and such. So he reaches out, and we have sent off. And I contacted him. 24 hours later, he contacted me, and we connected. And to this very day, we're still connected.
Yeah, so that's crazy. It's such a crazy story, and mainly because of the social media part. I'm not sure what many of us would do without social media. If we had to rely on things like the library, like we just saw, or rude social workers. Thank goodness for Zuckerberg. And so that brother that you talked about, I know in episode 2 or 3 you mentioned that when you found out that you had this brother, you actually hadn't thought about anybody except your birth mother, right? Which I know is a common thing, right? We only think about like a mother. But you started thinking, like, I have this whole birth family. But you still weren't necessarily wanting to find like a birth father. So, how in the world did it come to be that you ended up seeking, and what happened? Tell us.
So, fast forward to 2023, and I started this podcast originally just to tell my own story. And I didn't know that other people wanted to tell their stories too. So it just kind of took off. In that, I started connecting with people, a lot of you right here in this room. And I connected with the founder of the birthparentfinder.com. Shout out to Jay. In our conversation, he offered to help me to find my birth father because he had seen my previous episodes. Now, I will say this, it was always my plan to find my birth mother and father, always, because I always knew I was adopted from a little girl. But I can say that was the nudge, and I was like, I guess it's time, because from 2012 to 2023, I have had enough time to process meeting my maternal side and brothers and uncles and my grandmother. And I was like, you know what, yeah, I guess it's time. And so that was the nudge. That's how we got the ball rolling.
Okay, and I understand that too, right? You say 11 years was enough time to process. Yep, that's about how long it takes to figure out all the things. Okay, so then you go through Jay, right?
Actually, he told me to go ahead and take a DNA test through Ancestry.com.
Okay.
And I didn't even do it right away.
Okay.
We had that conversation probably like, I don't know, June, July. And I sat on that, and then finally like September, I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and do this.
Okay, good old fashioned ancestry. Shout out to how they brought us all together. Okay, so now we are in September.
So I take the test in September, get the results back in October. Now what Jay did know about me is that I like putting together. I've always been very interested in family history and family trees.
Okay, even before, like, not
Long
just...
before, because for my adoptive parents, I did that one year. I put the whole thing together and put it all in the Bible.
Okay.
I like puzzles. It's a puzzle to me. And so now I'm digging. So Jay didn't know that about me. So when I got my test back,
You're like...
I hit the ground running.
Yeah.
I told my husband I'm being in his office. I don't know when to see.
Yeah.
This is funny. Here I go. And I did, and I dug. So let me back up just a little bit. When I found...
Can you put the mic down? It's got feedback
Oh.
and it's affecting
Okay,
the
is
live
this
stream.
better?
Maybe let's kill the. Can't we hear them from?
So no mic?
No mic. Let's.
I'll keep it down here.
Okay.
I won't. Okay.
Hold
So
it mid-chest, right?
right there.
There, yeah, so you're not popping into it.
Yep. So
No, it's
It's
just.
still
Oh, you're
here.
still doing it, yeah.
Let's just kill
it.
the animals. Yeah.
okay. So when I found my birth mother, she had told myself and my birth brother, because of course I came with questions. And one of them was, okay, so who is my birth father? She had told us that we had the same father and that his name is a man named Carl Jones. But she couldn't tell us anything else. So when I took this DNA test, I'm looking for Carl. And I'm looking for the last name Jones. But nowhere on my tree is the last name Jones until I started digging further and further, like when I got down. And what I didn't realize at the time was what I was seeing was distant relatives. It wasn't a close relative. So where I got hit with the brick wall, when I got my DNA test, because I understand DNA and I understand how this works, let me see how I can explain this. I had two cousins. They were both showing as half first cousins to me. but they were not related. And I was confused. Because if you know about ancestry, you can take these people and see who you're connected to. This person over here and this person over here, both connected to me, not connected to each other. So then I had to then call Jay. Like, okay, figure this out because now I'm confused. Now, you know. So they took person number one over here, contacted them, and she had a tree that, no, she didn't have a tree, but they kind of figured out who she was by conversation. Contacted this person over here, because now, and she had a tree, and they figured out who she was. So now they understood whoever my birth father was, you are dealing with his maternal and paternal side.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we got to figure out who's on what side. And by conversation, they were able to narrow down which side was which side. So now I'm going to go a step further. When they connected with this one person over here, and then they put me in contact with this person over here, then I picked up the ball and I took off running again. Because now, got it. Now I'm on a mission, I'm locked in. And from there, I understood now who my grandmother was. But I found out, still don't know who my birth father is. I just know I'm in the right family. And by process of elimination, we find out this is the only sibling that never knew who his father was. Tell me if I need to stop.
No, so I just want to make sure because we're on this is the what side? So here's your father, and these are his two sides, right?
Right.
What side is this?
This is the paternal side
Of his side.
of his side. This is the maternal side. The side that I connected with was his maternal side.
Okay. And then also, where are we in time for you?
October.
Still October.
We are still in October. I tell you I wasn't. We are still in
So
October.
still in October, father, maternal side.
Yes.
All right. Whew. I feel like we should have grounded it again. So then what happens?
So then I did reach out to this other half cousin. She never responded to me. If you know how ancestry works, it's kind of like social media. You can send in inboxes. She had not responded. So now I'm just over here, locked in. And I find out I meet other parts of this family, and I had to, everything that I thought I knew, I had to forget. I thought I knew his name. That was not his name.
So it's not Carl Jones.
Girl, it was not Carl.
Okay.
We thought we had found Carl. We was mad at Carl, but that's a whole nother podcast. We thought we had found Carl.
Carl's whole life.
We
unnecessary.
unnecessarily.
Okay, so
We was
what
hot
happened?
with Carl. And Carl might be a good man, but that was not something else I failed to say on my birth certificate. As you said in your wonderful play, information about the birth father is typically not there. The only thing on my original birth certificate, it said he was 17.
Okay. So we have a couple of pieces. We don't know his name yet. We don't know who he is. We just know he was 17. And remind us, how old was your birth mother?
She was 15.
15. Okay.
And so when I began to meet members of this family, because of my face, I looked so much like these people. They were like, I don't even need to, I know you belong here. Oh God. And so, but we just didn't know who I belonged to. because what I also learned is there were 8 siblings. And I don't remember how many boys, but I could have belonged to any one of these boys. Some are deceased, some are not. We just gotta figure out who I belong to. There's only one that fit the age, but when I started seeing pictures of his daughter, I didn't look like her. And he was deceased. There was another brother who did not fit the age, but I looked just like his kids. And everybody started going, we think this, but I was like, he's not the right age. And then I told myself, you gotta forget everything. So,
So wait, do you ever go back to Jay, or you just do the adoptee thing?
I'm by myself now.
Okay.
By the time I get back to Jay, I got all the information. I got all the So, no, not Jay. I'm like, thanks, got it from here. And actually, let me also shout out Misty, because that's the DNA, that's his DNA person. So it was Misty who cracked that for me. I'm like, got it. So, I started connecting with relatives on this side of the family. And now we're in November. And me and my husband get on a plane, and here we are in Chicago. Because now I'm coming to meet everybody. And I find out who we believe my father is.
Okay, November of 2023.
Just a couple of weeks later.
Okay, and just a few months ago. Okay. So, in a matter of a couple of months, you're on a plane coming to meet everyone on your paternal side. Okay, so were you, before we get to that, like, the meeting, how were you feeling?
I'm feeling excited because if you know anything about me, I'm always rainbows, unicorns, and puppies. That's just what it is. All the time.
No, always.
Always. It is going to be fine. What? Always. And so I also went into this, and I do not recommend any adoptee to do this, okay? But for me, I'm like, of course they're going to accept me. Why would you not? So that's just very out there. Don't do that if you're going to do the search and review. Don't. But I did. And so I had talked to people on the phone, had started meeting relatives on the phone, so we had conversations. And that's why I felt comfortable enough to make sure, okay, here I come. And I'm going to meet who we think is my birth father.
Well, wait a minute. So who were you talking to?
Cousins.
Just cousins. But you hadn't talked to your birth father, or you had?
I have not.
So what was you going to use? Pop-up surprise? What was the plan?
Well, the reason why I had not is because I did find out that he had suffered a stroke 8 years prior.
Okay.
And he was in a nursing home, and I was not able to speak to him, although people were talking to him and letting him know what was going on and seeing if he remembered anything. And I did have a picture of my birth mom, and it started circulating around the family, and one of his brothers, one of the younger brothers, was like, I think I remember her. They didn't quite remember because all I had was her name.
Yeah.
But if you know anything about the hood, everybody has a little hood nicknames, and I didn't have that. And so they might know her by something else, and not her government name.
Right.
Yeah.
So from that, I'm like, here I come. And I had not talked to my siblings yet either. No, I had talked to one sibling on the phone. I had not talked to the rest of them yet.
Okay.
Yeah, don't do this.
No,
I'm not recommending you do that.
Okay. So November 2023, happy-go-lucky unicorns and rainbows, flies to Midway. Here we come.
get here, and I meet some relatives at the nursing home, and I attempt to go meet my birth father. I was not able to on that day because one of my siblings, who I don't know yet, they did not have a conversation with them, and so they were like, well, we don't know what's going on, so we're going to shut all this down. So no. Yeah. Right, so now I'm here. I'm like, so what's next? So then me and my husband go get pizza. I need a moment. So I go back and I get back with the cousins, because again, this is all I've talked to. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I finally meet my brother on this side, because I have 3 sisters and 1 brother. And I'm like, he was like, don't worry, I'm gonna take you up there tomorrow, we're gonna do this. Next day, do go up there. I do get to meet him. It's it's minimal. The time I get to spend is very minimal. He is not in great condition. Again, he had suffered a stroke, and I didn't get to, I just didn't get to spend a lot of time. But now I'm frustrated because I still have not talked to my sisters.
Yeah.
And I'm about to just wash my hands of it, and I'm like, we came up on a Saturday, yeah, and we flew home on a Tuesday. And I was like, I'm done. And my adopted cousins were like, girl, you are all the way in Chicago. Try to figure out how to reach out to those girls and have a conversation with them. Like, you're there. Don't leave the city and not talk to them. And I was like, all right. And my husband took my phone, put this message together, and was like, send. I was like, you sent it? On Facebook, inboxing. And remember, I had spoke to one sister before, but we hadn't had any contact since, and I remembered I had her phone number. And so not only when he did that, and I read it, and I'm like, okay, it's sent now. Then I copy-pasted and sent it to, I texted. And then we went to lunch again, because now I need food again.
Luckily, we're in Chicago, so, yeah.
So while, and I actually had not thought anything else about it. I'm like, I did it because in my mind, I'm about to go home. They haven't contacted me, I haven't talked to them. I got to see my birth father, although it was minimal. I met cousins,
Yeah.
good. But they contacted me. And they were like, we can meet when I get off from work. And one of my sisters was like, here's my address. And I was like, this is happening.
Yeah.
So when they get off, when she got off from work, and we're headed over there, and my husband's taking me, and I feel like I'm about to be sick.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I'm gonna walk into. But I'm going, because I'm here, and I've gone this far, and I'm about to have this conversation with them. And I get in there, get to her house, and to my surprise, what I now know is my baby sister. When she opened the door, she greets me with a hug, and I was taken back. I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's not so bad. But when I walk into the room, my other 2 sisters are there, and you just feel the tension in the room. Because everybody's like, because nobody had talked to them, they just didn't know what was going on. Other family members knew, they didn't know. So the first question they asked, they were like, so did you go to the nursing home? And I'm like, okay, so before we get there, let me let you know. And I started all the way from the beginning with my maternal, that story. And then I brought it all the way forward. And as I continued to tell the story, you could feel the tension start to come down. And by the end of that conversation, I had my sisters. And I found my face. For real, found my face. Those girls, we look a whole lot alike. And let me just stop.
No, keep going.
Okay. And the relationship just kind of took off. But in that, my baby sister was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a DNA test. Please do a DNA test because it's nothing more, just it's something to connect to cousins. It's something real different to connect to a sibling. And so this is in November. We're still in November, y'all. We're still in November.
We're still on the same
We're
day.
still the same trip. Still the same trip. So she tells me, I'm gonna take this. I'm like, okay, cool. So we come back home. I've now connected with cousins, uncle, and who I now believe to be my birth father, and sisters and brother.
Okay. So, I appreciate you giving the range of emotions that occurs. Sometimes even, and not to make light of it, sometimes even in a 24-hour period, right? Like you are excited on the plane, and then it's full stop, and then it's just kind of F this whole thing, and then it's, I'm excited because people are accepting of me, and so thank you for sharing the actual emotion part of it, because I think that's also something that people who are not adoptees don't understand, the range of just all of the things at once, or just in waves, right? Because you're just doing like this, hoping somebody will kind of catch you, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So I'm still interested. So you're connecting with siblings now, and the cousins are on the periphery, or are they
Yeah,
still?
they're, yes.
Okay, so they're on the periphery, and your birth father is in his home. And what is so he can communicate or cannot?
He can communicate. He wasn't talking on the phone, and, I guess I should say this. After I connected with the girls, I did get to go back to the nursing home and spend time with my birth father.
Okay.
And I went up there with one of my other sisters, and that's when I got to talk to him, and I realized, so his long-term memory was okay, but whenever you would speak to him, it just took him a minute to process, but he understood what you were saying. And from my first visit, when I was just up there just for a hot second, from when I went back, he remembered my face, he remembered he told me my name, so I'm like, okay, you get it, you know what's, so he knew what was going on.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, he knows.
Okay, so now we're still in November. What's next?
So, my family, my husband and my youngest son, we always take a trip for the holidays. And this year, we so happened to have not even planned what we were going to do. Usually it's already planned, locked in. So when I came home in November, because of how everything went,
Right.
I was like, I feel like I didn't get enough time. Let's go back to Chicago for Christmas. And my husband was like, we were just there. Remember, I live in Florida. And I was like, I just feel like I didn't get enough time. Like, I feel like I need to go back. He was like, all right. So we came back, but this time we drove back. We made a whole road trip. It was a whole thing. Like, we didn't do straight through, like we stopped. It was a whole thing. So we came back and we spent Christmas with my sisters and then with my brother on my maternal side. And I did get to spend more time with my birth father when I came back. And lo and behold, while I was here, my baby sister gets her DNA results back. It's a girl. So all that happened, it's locked in, solidified. These are for sure my people. I got to meet a couple of other relatives, and I kept getting that same thing. Girl, I don't need that DNA test. Look at your face. Y'all have to go to my social media page to see these people. And
But how was Christmas? Holidays are such especially here, like culturally, holidays are such a big deal for families. So how was it spending Christmas?
I admit, when I first walked into my sister's house, it was a little weird, like, wow, this is happening, like, I'm spending Christmas with people I just met.
Right.
Because what I did was, I went to my maternal brother's house first, and we spent time there, and then, lo and behold, he lives 12 minutes from my sister. And so then we drove over there and spent time. But as the day went on,
Nothing, like,
it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
amazing.
okay, so this is where I'm supposed to be. That's
that's amazing.
fine. And we also, because we spent some time here, that's when The Color Purple came out. So me and my sisters went and saw The Color Purple together. And that would be our first outing as siblings. So,
Yeah. Okay, so, and I'm sorry, I was thinking The Color Purple is not the best Christmas movie, but.
no, but it's so
okay, it's a
supportive.
memory.
Now,
It's
this is
a
right.
memory.
And we got to go support sisters.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So yeah, we had to go support. So that's what we do.
Okay, so after that, now you're in, we're all good. They know you're the person.
I am the person.
You're not coming to wreck the family.
I'm not. I'm not the family.
Okay, I might be
So-
projecting. So what happened
No.
to that?
So it prompted my maternal brother, the one I met back in 2012, to say, I wonder if these are my people too. I'm gonna go ahead and take an ancestry DNA test. So he takes it. We find out these are not his people. We are not full siblings. And Carl Jones might be his father. I don't know. We don't know. We've not. He's not gone any further with it. We just know for sure these are not his people. So I will also say that when I figured all this out, I did call my birth mom. I'm like, hey girl. So I found my birth father, and his name is Willie Anderson. And they say I look a lot like him, and she says, yeah, you do look like those people. Girl, what? What? Excuse me, come again? And I said, well, I just want you to know that I found him. And she was like, okay, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And then she begins to shut me down. Like, okay, well, I'll talk to you later. Okay. So I did let her know. That's the only conversation we've
Ever had?
ever had about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's pretty common, as you know, from interviewing so many people. It's such a range of responses from birth mothers, from acceptance to denial and everything in between.
Now, I will say this, again, she was only 15, and what I did find out was my birth father was 22.
Oh, not 17.
Not 17.
Okay.
Who knows? I don't know, because nobody has been able to convey what the story was. I don't know. So I'll never say, oh, she lied. She just really, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have any answers for that. I really don't know. I just know what it is. I know that he's my father. He's my birth father. She's my birth mother. That's what I know to be true.
Yeah, those are the only facts. And also to hold space for the idea that it was a long time ago. Not that she didn't know or even trying to like hide something from you. I just think a lot of times birth mothers hold a lot of their own shame, and that comes out in so many different ways. So,
For sure.
yeah, but I'm glad you let her know that you know what's up. So are we in? We are December because we had Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in December, we have Christmas, and we go to the New Year, and life is life, and I have these conversations and having these relationships, and lo and behold, I end up right back here in February on a work trip. So when I come back in February, I get to spend more time with my siblings, and we went to dinner, and it was a whole thing. You know, I see my my brother on the other side, and you know, the relationships are like blooming. So this is, February. I come back home, and
Let's go. Let's go. It's okay.
2 weeks later, on March 11th, I get a phone call that my birth father has passed away.
Yeah, you wanna take a second and breathe? No, really.
And I didn't really know what to do with that. But I'm so glad I went back in December. I don't know what that was pulling me. Maybe it was that. But the day before I got the call, Monday morning. That's the call I woke up to. That Saturday, I got stuck in the airport trying to get back home because I was on another work trip. I had been in Alabama. And because of the weather, and I got stuck in the airport, it took forever to get home. So on Sunday, I was off all day long. Like, I just felt like a turmoil inside of me. I thought I was tired because I'd been in the airport for 12 hours, and it was just weird. And I kept having conversations with myself, girl, you're just tired, girl, you're just hungry. I didn't know what it was. And when I woke up to that news, I was like, was I feeling that yesterday? I was feeling that. I felt it. And it just made me realize it's like, we're really connected to these people, even though we were separated from these people.
Right.
And anytime, I wasn't very open about what happened. Like, if you were in my little tiny circle here, I was putting subliminal messages out there, but if you didn't know what I was talking about, you just didn't know. It was a different kind of grief.
Yeah, and I just wanna repeat and reiterate what you just said. We're really connected to these people, even though we're separated from these people. And I think that's something that, again, if you're not an adoptee, you don't understand. I think sometimes it's something that adoptive parents don't really get. How you can feel something for people that did not raise you. Because whether you want to go spiritual, metaphysical, or whatever, biological, scientifically, you are connected to these people some type of way, right? So can you speak to how it felt to meet and become connected physically to your birth father, and then months later, well, what was that?
I felt grateful because for 2 big reasons. Number one, when I was a little girl, remember rainbows, unicorns, and unicorns. I always said, as a little girl, whenever I meet my real mommy and daddy, please let them both be alive. You gave me that. God gave me that. The second reason I was grateful is because I was able to tell Willie Anderson who his father was. I was also able to show him a picture of his father because he never knew who his father was. So I was able to do that. And I wasn't ready for that grief because it just kept going like this. And while my siblings were grieving differently, because that was their daddy, that's who they grew up with, so it was hitting them differently, but it was hitting me differently. And that's all I could ever say was like, this is just a different kind of, I don't even know what to do with this. Like, I just met him. I only got to spend a little bit of time with him. I got to have a conversation with him. I got to laugh with him. I got to see where I got all this hair from. I understand now where I got my dancing from, my love of music. It was him. And I got to do that, but I just wasn't, I didn't think I was about to lose something.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. So do you have anything else to add about the journey of, I have more questions, but I want to finish. Okay. So, so in episode 4, where the brother that you continue to talk about, you actually had him on your podcast. And if any of you have listened to Tarcia talk about her adoption experience, y'all, she makes plainly clear that she had a great, excellent, wonderful, stupendous, uniform, rainbow-filled life, and she was not lacking. But in that episode, you say that you've heard of like this adoption trauma thing that people have, and you even say, I don't know if you remember this, you're like, yeah, I think my birth mom has some adoption trauma, but I don't have no adoption trauma.
Look, listen, lies. I had it.
Yes, I'm listening to it. I'm on the treadmill, like, did she say it?
I did.
Did she say
I had picket fences. What are you talking
She
about?
talks about the picket fences, the private schools, the things, all the
So
things.
what I learned for me.
Wait a minute, I didn't even ask that question. Okay. Literally, almost to the day, a year ago, right? So, do you feel the same today is the question.
I do not.
All right, do you want to elaborate?
For me, this is what my epiphany has been. I suffered from adoption trauma, but I didn't realize this until much later on in life. I didn't realize the clinginess, the abandonment issues that I had. I didn't know I had. The way I responded to things. I was like, oh, girl, you're dealing with some adoption stuff. But when that conversation is never being had, how do you know to tap into that? It never, ever crossed my mind. I just like, oh, this is who I am, this is just what I do, this is how I move. And growing up with my, just for context, I say my adopted family, like I never felt out of place. I didn't have that experience. I never felt like they adopted me at 5 weeks. That's just where I was, and this is just who I am, this is what I'm doing. And we're living life, and life is good. But I always knew, I moved a little different, did some different stuff. But I still never knew to tap into my adoption. Because
Yeah, how would you know?
how would I know?
Yeah, that adoption is the roots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How would I know?
that is the root. Okay. So you may have answered this, but I'm not sure. I also want to make sure I say this part. Some might read it directly from this card.
Okay.
So I just want to say publicly, like I really admire your tenacity. You embody the curiosity that adoptees have. You and Suzanne have adopted seen like that.
All the answers.
Right, that is it. And sometimes I think adoptees don't have the courage to lean into that curiosity. So I just feel like you're the epitome of what it can yield, and how it can help others. You also have shown like these different aspects of being reunited with our birth families. Like sometimes it can be underwhelming, sometimes it can be overwhelming. Sometimes you find out all these things, and also exciting. So, as the host of the Adoption Journey podcast, what would you say you've learned from your own journey? Yeah.
That I have adoption trauma. It has allowed me to learn how to do some self-healing, do some inner work, and understand more about myself. Because things I thought I knew, and I'm like, oh girl, you don't know. Yeah, no. And it makes me move different. It makes me attack relationships different. It makes me just look at things just in a whole different light.
Yeah.
And talking to all the wonderful guests I've had on my show, I pull so much from each guest, each story, and it just makes me do a lot of self-reflection and some inner healing that I didn't know I needed to do.
Yeah. So I think that's a perfect segue. I do have one more question, but one more thing that I have to say. As we close, I do want to speak on behalf of all of your guests and me having been one. I do believe in giving people their flowers while they're alive. So I do want to say thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for amplifying our voices. I'm about to cry. Thank you for amplifying our stories. Thank you for providing us with the community that maybe some of us didn't know that we needed at the time. And so, when I said give you your flowers, something magical is supposed to occur that hasn't happened. Okay, where's Maggie? Okay, so while we're figuring that out, I'm glad I didn't cry. So you like to ask all of us a final question. So my final question is, what advice would you give to anyone in the adoption community?
My advice would be to love yourself. Please love yourself. Please know that you are enough. If you decide to do the search and reunion thing, it is a personal decision. Don't let anybody sway you one way or another. And if you decide to do that journey, go into it with an open mind, knowing, just be ready for anything, because you just don't know. Please do not do that to Thankfully for me, it worked out. Don't do this. And tell your story, because this is so therapeutic, and you don't know who you're helping. So don't be afraid to tell your story. And it doesn't have to necessarily be on the open platform like this. So if you want to be a guest on the adoption journey podcast, you can be. But tell your story. Don't be afraid to tell your story. So that's what I would say.
Perfect.
Okay, I wasn't ready for that. And I wasn't ready for these tears. Thank you so much, and thank you to every single guest that I've had. I thank you for celebrating this 1-year anniversary. It's not really crying. And watch! Just thank you.
All right. That was fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it. podcaster community, congratulations on your 1 year. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back. We got some more good stuff for you, okay? We'll see you guys in a few minutes.